Hello? Good morning? I guess it's afternoon now. But good morning? Hello? Hello? It is the critique stream. Welcome, welcome. We have a baby on the baby cam. Oh, I need the baby cam label. I'm so unprepared. Hi, Nish. How are you? need a label for baby. Baby cam. It's very important so people know what they're looking at. Doing good, you? Good. I am a little sleepy. But I have my coffee. I'm ready to critique some art. If you are new here and watching this and you're like, what the heck is going on? Bones and we do monthly critiques on stream like we are doing today. We critique comic pages, character designs. I think today is all character designs and some illustration. But yeah, illustration, we can look at comic scripts, we can look at your thumbnails, storyboards, pencils, inks, finished pages, outlines for stories. We can look at short stories or parts of novels. We can look at pretty much everything between us. And we do this monthly. And if you would be interested in joining for next month, you can sign up through our Patreon or becoming a YouTube member, and you can join and you can submit your stuff and we will look at it and tell you if it's good. We're not mean, I promise. We're very nice. Our whole goal with these is to encourage people to continue working on their art and to improve. And all that good stuff. Today will probably be a short one. I think part of it is my fault. I posted the due dates a little late. It just totally slipped my mind this month. So we only have submissions from 2 people. So this will be a bit shorter. But yeah. Are Chloe or Cypress here? Those are some very cute baby raccoons, right? Look at this raccoon right here. What a sweet little Arctic raccoon. Showing off her little bean toes. She's like, what? My bean toes? My bean toes are on stream? What? We also, while I'm on the self-advertising train, we do also offer like kind of one-on-one not mentoring, because mentoring is supposed to be a free thing, but like consultation, I guess, more one-on-one feedback. And it is, I think you can get it through Patreon only. I don't know if it's a YouTube tier. But yeah, but we'll sit down, we can look at like a bunch of your stuff. We'll sit down for like a 45-minute call, and answer questions and go through things very individually, whereas this is a bit more general. So yeah. If you're interested, that is available. Chloe, Cypress! I don't know if they're here. Let me check their messages. See if they said they would be here. Because I can only vamp for so long. Mentoring is supposed to be free. All the mentoring stuff I've ever seen was for money. Some people call it mentoring. I've heard there's some discourse on it. I think it's like, it's better to call it coaching if it's paid, whereas mentoring is supposed to be kind of like helping people up the ladder behind you, if that makes sense, kind of like within a career. It's supposed to be kind of like something you do just to like help other people in your field. Whereas, like, if you're doing coaching, it can be a bit more of, like, a paid thing. Of course, there are people who do coaching for free. But the thing is, like, some people will just call it mentoring, which is fine. Yeah. I've heard discourse is all. And I always want to call it mentoring, but mentoring is, like, free. So that would be if, like, I took a comic artist under my wing and like we just meet regularly and I'd kind of give them advice as someone who's maybe like further in their career kind of thing. Or if I went to a graphic designer who's like more senior than me and asked for help. Right? I did not expect there to be mentoring discourse either, but there is. The thing is, like, I think mentoring as like a free thing you kind of give to like other creatives, I think is a really great thing. I think doing that for free and just offering your experience for free is like very, very sweet, very, very helpful. But I don't think it's always manageable for people, understandably, especially in like the creative fields where like we're not making a lot of money. So I understand people asking for money to share their expertise. I think that's also fine. So personally, it just depends. Because if I was in a position where like I was set for money, I would happily just be like given advice out to people and meeting with people. You know, I'd love to do that. Kitty cam is revolutionary. Yes, we love the baby cam. We put it on for the commission stream, but I think we're keeping it. I think this is like a forever thing. Look at all the fur they've left on the couch. I swear, I clean this every day. And I go to bed and I come back and it's covered in fur again. Hope they get stable money enough to one day become a mentor, right? I would love that. I would love to be in a world where everyone could do that as well. Because if we had people offering their expertise and helping like young people join creative fields, that would just be so nice. That would be lovely. We can just continue passing on knowledge and creating like better and better work. All right, I'm gonna get started. I don't know if Chloe or Cypress are here. I don't think they are. Because Cypress might be at work and Chloe might be asleep. I would like to live in a world where I can afford to be a mentee, right? Wouldn't that be so nice? Wouldn't that just be great if like you could just go to a professional you admire? Obviously there'd be issues like, you know, someone can only take on so much time to like mentor people, but wouldn't it be great if you could just go to someone you admire and be like, hey, I want to learn from you. And they're like, yeah, I want to teach. The thing is, too, I should say, if there is someone you admire, there's no harm in asking them. What does mentoring entail? It's... I mean, in the so I come from kind of like a tech work background where there has been a lot of advice given to me, like as a graphic designer, if I want to like move up in my career, I should go speak to like an art director or a senior graphic designer and meet with them and get mentorship from them. And a lot of that, it can be portfolio reviews, so them giving advice on like, oh, you should add this to your portfolio, this will help you find work, this is what I know people in the industry are looking for, here's how to improve your work. And I think that's what happens a lot in like the mentoring, I guess in like the comic illustration side. But the other part of mentoring is giving like career advice. So if you're like, I'm not sure if I want to specialize in this field, or like, I'm not sure how to apply to get this kind of job, and a mentor can say like, here is my career path, like here's how I started, here's how I like broke into the industry, here's how I was promoted. Here's advice on like, you know, if you're in a tough position where maybe you need to like work out a contract, or you're having difficulties with like a peer or with your boss, like a mentor can hopefully offer advice on that kind of thing as just someone who may have experienced that. It's a lot of just like knowledge sharing to like help people get further along in their career and improve their craft. Yeah. A lot of pros are really sweet, and was able to sit down with one. Oh, I was able to sit down with one and just talk about visa stuff and how it works a few years back. Totally. Lots of people are happy. Like, if you just ask them, like, hey, do you have like half an hour to like sit down on a video call? Or like if you can meet in person, like, can you sit down for a coffee or something? A lot of people are super willing to like just chat and answer questions. And it can be a form of mentorship. I think mentorship is supposed to be kind of more long-term. But obviously, like, seeking advice from other professionals is still mentorship. I'm kind of being mentored by a professor. She critiqued me and given me school advice. Totally. That's like a great mentorship opportunity, is from professors. Oh, hold on. I need to go help Lear. I heard a meow. All right, I'm back. But yeah, a lot of people are very open to sharing what they know. And I think, yeah, and just reaching out to people, and it can be, the advice I've heard is like, if you're reaching out to someone, say like through an email or a DM, if you have a question, make it a question that like they could answer in a couple minutes through text. We don't gatekeep in this house. Exactly. We share our knowledge because we want people to join the industries we're in. We want other artists to flourish. We're not keeping people out. But if you're reaching out to like, say like an artist you admire or a writer you admire, or someone in the field you want to get into, like, send them a question that they can answer in like 5-10 minutes, like something that doesn't, wouldn't take wouldn't take like a lot of time to answer. It can be hard to figure out what that question is, but that's if you have a specific question. And it's also all right to just say like, hey, do you have 15-20 minutes to sit down? I'm a comic artist who's looking for advice on how to get my stuff published or start a webcomic or whatever it is you want to do. Do you have time to like sit and answer some of my questions? And a lot of people will say yes. And if they say no, that's nothing against you. It might just be they're busy. They don't have the time for it at the moment. And most people I've ever talked to and reached out to are always super nice. Even if they don't have the time, like, they're usually like, hey, good luck with what you're doing. I'm sorry, etc. Unfortunately, I have trouble with the drawing part. Oh, no. Well, you gotta keep practicing. You gotta keep at it. And I mean, if you are having difficulties with like the drawing part, you could also ask for like a critique or a portfolio review kind of thing. A cursed shaky hands. Aw, I'm sorry. That is tough. That is tough. Practice, practice, practice. Yes. But you can also ask for like a portfolio review. You can say like, would you be open to sitting down with me again for like half an hour kind of thing and review my portfolio or some of my work I'm looking to improve. I'd love your advice on this. If you have any time, that would be amazing kind of thing. And again, if they say no because they're busy, so be it. But a lot of people might say like, yeah, sure, send me your thing. I wish humans had mitten hands. Yes. Oh, that is true. Well, you just gotta have a style where they all have like the little mitten hands. They all have like Animal Crossing character hands. And then all your problems are solved. With toe beans, yes! Okay, but what if humans have paws? Let's freaking go. I also want to live in a world where we all have little toe beans. We have just little paws. Nya nya. Alright. I should get started on this, because I could gab for hours about art stuff. All right, so I will start with Chloe, aka Jellyfish Stew, aka Kuro. Okay, so Kuro said I have 3 character designs from different comics. The first is Woodja? I'll say Woodja. Alpha the villain from 922 AD. He's a crane demon. Ooh. Okay, the second is Tyrell. Okay, from Lindisfarne, 1068 AD. The last one is Sharkbait from VTuber Agency. Okay. We can engineer thumbs for them. Exactly, we have the brains. We can do it. Alright, so I'll start with Woodga. Okay, so I'm assuming you want just kind of general critique on the character designs. Okay, so starting with Woodga. So the color scheme is great. I love the balance between the black and the white and the pops of red. Hi, Bones. Bones is awake. You went to bed at 5? That's crazy. Bon, you're crazy. Okay, but yes, I love the red. It stands out in such great contrast to the black and the white. The shapes you're using, this like fan shape, these like ribbon shapes, very crane coded. And obviously it's like the crane feathers that are coming off him. So yeah, shape, color, very good. I do also like how he's got this like very elongated neck. It looks like it clearly bends like a crane or a bird's would. And I like the very like long gangly limbs. Very, very bird. But yeah, I love the feather shapes that kind of make up the hair and then the crest, as well as like the different, so I guess like where body hair would present on a person, it's just like the different feathers, which is neat. And I really like the bend in the neck. It definitely helps with like the demon image kind of thing, because I think this is a villain, right? From your it's not medieval, but you have like a comic set way in the past. I guess Dark Ages? I don't actually know. I don't know the timeline here. But yeah. What else? But I love the curve in the neck. It's very, very inhuman, very cool looking. Same with the claws that are on the hands. And I do really like the shape of the boots that he's got. They're reminiscent of like the bill of a bird. I am curious. I think one thing that could push this design. So I find, so like I said, I like the kind of gangliness of the character. The colors are great. I love the neck. I find the arms and the legs are very similar in balance. They're both like long, gangly limbs with these feathers coming off of them. I'm wondering I'm wondering if balance-wise, it might give like an interesting silhouette if the arms were like filled out a bit more, like the silhouette was larger. It could give the image of like wings. And kind of help with that bird kind of silhouette energy going on. And you could do that by using sleeves, because the sleeves are cut off probably to show off the feathers. You could make the feathers thicker and keep the sleeves short. Because yeah, I'm not sure if you want to make the arms like into wings. That might not be the vibe you're going for, which is totally fine. But yeah, just something to make them a bit bigger. Even just filling out the feathers a little bit more, because they are a bit larger as compared to the legs. But yeah, I think that would kind of help make the leg, this like shoe shape, really stand out. You could even shrink down the feathers on the legs as well. And I think if you... because what you have right now is like there's a little bit of like the silhouette kind of poking out at the shoulders, but then it gets skinny on the arm and then gets like big down by the hands. I'd love if like if you do change the arms, if you kept that, because it does create like the image of wings. I think it creates like some interesting weight in the silhouette of the character. Yeah, so keeping that, but like making the feathers bigger. I also love the, I'm not sure if it's makeup or like skin markings, but I love the around the eyes. Very crane coated. And then I like the gradient on the neck as well. It's very cool. Yeah, I like them. Oh, I went right into the character design talk, but the vibes I get from Woodka. So yeah, he looks very villainous. He looks... he's menacing. I feel like he'd show up and he'd be like, oh, what do we have here? Oh ho ho. And then he'd peck you until you die. Yeah, but he seems like very cunning and like a meanie. And I feel like he'd be very fast. Like if you're in a fight with him, he'd be very fast. That's the vibe. Very dramatically. Yes. The drama. I also, maybe it's just because he's bird themed, but I'm like, I bet he's like very like arrogant. You know? Like preens his feathers and it's like, I'm so smart. So yeah, so that's Woodka. So then we have Tyrell, who I think is from the same comic. With this like ancient times comic. Okay, starting with a vibe check. Tyrell feels like... he feels like a friendly character. Like maybe not the main character, because I think the main character is like a young warrior type. But he feels like an ally kind of character. He's like... just hear the dogs in the background. Anyways, he feels like... She
doesn't have water.
Oh, she doesn't have water. Can we do a hydration check? Along with Manica? Let's all drink our water, okay. Manica just went on and played Ball with Dad. That is her favorite thing ever. But she works out a lot. Gets very thirsty. Anyways, Tyrell gives like mentor character.
Water, but I didn't want to trip on Lear while getting her the water, so I had to put him away first.
Oh, you did?
Oh, he also needed water.
Lear also needed water?
That's why he was...
That's why he...
over drinking his water in his kennel.
Oh, okay, okay.
You didn't water any of them.
I did. I gave Lear water. He was in his kennel, like, for a little bit. He had a chance to drink his water.
Yeah, but the dogs didn't have water.
Yeah, the dogs didn't have water. I didn't realize the water was low.
You freed him and you couldn't get back to it, so... You did not, in fact, have water.
You're right. I'm a bad mom.
Alright, you can do your thing.
Thank you. Now that I've been shamed. A glug, glug, glug. Hydrate. Yes. Okay, Tyrell. mentor character, maybe like a warrior they seek out for help. I'm also getting like hermit vibes. Like maybe he's living off in the woods by himself and they have to like seek him out. But yeah, he seems friendly. Maybe a little bit wild. A little unhinged, possibly. But he seems tough. He seems friendly. Yeah. I like his outfit quite a bit. I like the torn sleeves that are still like tied in place. I like how uneven everything is. He's got all these like grubby stains all over him. He's got some missing teeth. I also really like this patch on his shoulder. There's something about it, like maybe it just seems like what do you call them? Is it pauldrons? Is that what you wear on your shoulder? But yeah, just feels like a shoulder piece, even though it's probably just like stitched on to like fix the shirt. But anyways, I like it. I like this wild man, this mountain man who is 20. He seems like a good dude. Okay, as for the design, so I do like how jagged everything is. There's this like spikiness to it. I like how asymmetrical things are. It creates a lot of visual interest in the character. There's a lot of like repetition in the shapes because we've got the spikes in the hair. We've got it even on like the color of the shirt, how the shirt is like opened, the sleeves, the bottom of the tunic, the bottom of the pants. You've got this like grime texture that's on like the feet and the hands and just all through the character. Definitely like brings the aesthetic together on the character. The color stuff. So you definitely have like a very good understanding with like color and contrast within like the different pieces of the character, and I think you're doing a great job here where everything has good contrast. The colors are very cohesive. Yeah, I just really like the asymmetry of the character. I like how one sleeve is longer. We've got the bandage. We've got like a bit of the bandage like trailing off. We've got like asymmetrical rips on everything. You know, one pant leg has like a rip up the front. The other one has a bit less. Yeah, it's just really nice. It feels very balanced. Because like asymmetry can still be balanced, if that makes sense. Even if it's not symmetrical. He looks a little hunched over. I'm also very tired. That might be on purpose. I think it's a little on purpose. He does look a little like... It might be the silhouette of him too, because he's got like a tie on his shirt that's like very high up. So it might make his shoulders look hunched forward a bit. The only thing I might advise is with his eyes and hair being the same color. Which is fine, because you can have characters where like, you know, eye and hair color or different parts can have very similar colors. I think his face just feels a little bit flat. There could be a bit more visual interest if like, you know, even if these are the same color, but maybe bringing in some texture. Or it might also help because this is just like a design sheet, you know, when you're putting him in the comic and there's more dynamic lighting and stuff that can help. But I think just like, even if like his eyebrows were darkened to something a little closer to like the dark colors in his outfit, something like that, just to add a little bit of texture and depth. Yeah. Yeah. So, Chloe, please let me know if you have any questions for that. And I'll go to your next one. I like this guy already. Okay, so this is for you have like a VTuber story. So this is one of the VTubers named Sharkbait. Okay, before I read all the things, all the description, I'll give a vibe check. Okay, Sharkbait feels very cheeky, very like wild, silly. I want to say like aggressive personality, but not like actually mean, because like he's like a VTuber. or sorry, she, my bad. I've been misgendering the whole time. So she is like a VTuber, but like, you know, she'd probably be like kind of sassy and cheeky. Not like actually mean, but like, you know, the type, the kind of like the rough, rowdy kind of stereotype kind of character, if that makes sense. She yells a lot. I don't know if she's, I mean, you know, VTubers, maybe playing games and streaming and stuff. I feel like she'd yell a lot, you know? Okay, so that's the vibe I get. So Sharkbait is the angel of sharks. One day she trips over her tail and falls to earth. She lands above a bakery. The smell is so enticing she hides her wings. Goes in to try the food. She falls in love with the human food and decides to remain on Earth. Aw, same, girly. So her 6 feet 1 inch. We love a tall girl. A poor beagle shark? Large appetite, loves baked goods. Aw, same, girly. Okay. So design-wise, I love the X motif that goes on, because not only there's little X's kind of through, you know, on the tie, in the eyes, on the gloves, the belts, on the shoes. I love how it's like through the whole design, but there's also like implications of an X with like these little horns / headpiece here, like having this kind of like diagonal cut. Creates like, it's not like a full X, but it has like an X vibe. And then same with these little like shoulder pieces that are coming out from the lapel. Yeah, so great work, because I love the echo of things, but they're still like there, you know, there's like explicit X's, but there's still like implied X's. Like I think that's just a very sophisticated way of like having the motif through the character. It helps that this is like a very complex character design, which works for like a VTuber type design or character, where like they tend to have a lot of complex moving parts, which can work. It can work for VTuber models. It can also work for like 3D models for like animation and video games, because you're not hand drawing every single image like you would in a comic or a hand drawn animation, where you can use a lot of those more complex designs, where like it still would take more to animate even if it's like a 3D model, but definitely easier than hand drawing everything, which tends to make things more simplified. Dog him is so cute. It's Madoka. Oh, hi, girly. Is he looking at me? Look at chat. Poor beagle sharks have full black eyes, so that's fun for the character design. Ooh. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, so that really works. But yeah. But anyways, I really like the motif. It works really well. I also love the shark teeth belt. Works really well in conjunction with the sharp teeth on the face, as well as all the jagged bits for like the hair, points on the tail, etc. Color-wise, again, great contrast between everything. I like how the green, which is like your main color, is broken up by like the black and white bits. The blue in the eyes stands out quite a bit. I kind of wish there was a bit more of the blue. Like, I'd keep it small. It would be like, I guess not a tertiary color, because you have like, it would be the 4th color in the hierarchy. But I would keep it small. But I think having that blue would be great. Even if it's just like, you know, maybe a mark on the gloves or the nails are painted blue kind of thing. Just to bring it in subtle ways throughout the design. Because you've got such a great mixture of like the green and black and white. I'd love to see the blue brought in subtly to kind of help bring all the colors together. But there's great contrast between all the colors. The only thing I would say, I'd be careful with the tail on top of this big green background here, because in the character herself, the contrast is all really great, but just having this green on green, it pulls attention from the tail. It kind of makes it blend in. So I'd recommend possibly using like maybe a more subtle green, or I don't know.
Green text.
What'd you say?
Black with like green text or something.
Yeah, black with green text. Just to help make the character stand out more. Yeah. Is there anything else? I don't think so. I think this is a really great design. Yeah. Chloe, if you have any questions when you see this, please let me know. I'm happy to answer. And great work. Great work today. Thank you for submitting. Alright, Cypress! I don't think you're here. What did you say? I have 2 character designs and an illustration this month. 2 designs you've already seen, but they're colored this time. General critique, as well as any changes in the vibes by adding color. I will say Seo's blue dress isn't the one she will wear often. I just imagine her wearing it because Estrella's name means star in Spanish. Ooh. As for the illustration, it's Sao with their adopted daughter, Ceres. I vividly imagine a scene between them after Ceres finally warms up to them as parents, and Estrella finds them like this, oh, after a long day, coming home from work. General critique on that as well. Please be nitpicky. I'm very proud of it, but I want to know how to improve in any way I can. Of course. Awesome. So yes, I have seen these characters before. I think these are a married couple. So Seo and Estrella. And I know Estrella is based on like Quetzalcoatl, and is like a warrior who like protects their home, and then Seo is a doctor, I believe. Yes. Okay, and then there's illustration with them with their adoptive baby. That's so sweet. Okay. So let's start with Estrella. Yes, so I've seen this exact character sheet, but now it's colored. I really like the color choices. I really...
If they're a doctor, where's their stethoscope?
If they're a doctor, where's their stethoscope?
Yeah, how will you know they're a doctor?
How will we know? Sorry, not a doctor, no stethoscope. Or they need that little reflector thing on their forehead that old-timey doctors have. How else will we know?
All doctors have it.
They're born with it. Doctors are born with it. They're born with a stethoscope. And they keep it with them. The green feels so lush. It does. Yeah, I like Estrella's colors quite a bit. I like your mix of this very like teal green with these more kind of like sagey yellowy greens, where they're still very harmonious, but I like the separation between the different colors. And I like how you've used like a little bit of a lighter kind of teal blue on the details of their armor. And the details of their armor are really nice. I really like these little kind of ornament. You're late. I just finished yours, Chloe. No. Also, hi late. I'm Ursula. Chloe, if you want to scrub back and watch what I said, if you have any questions, I am happy to answer. I'm sorry. Oh man, I should have started with Cypress. Will do. Okay. Thank you, Chloe. Right, but I love the little kind of ornamental detailing on all of the armor pieces. Really, really great. Great contrast between all the different pieces. I like the little... It looks like oxidizing because these look like copper pieces of armor, and then like there's a little green oxidization on it. That's like a really nice touch. And it fits color-wise really well into their color story. But yeah, love the little ornaments, love the bits of like kind of gold and yellow, the bronzy colors, the white that helps kind of pop against like all the other colors. Yeah, just lots of really nice detail. I also love the little texture for the scales that you have. That's like a little bit of like a kind of grainy, scaly texture where it's nice and subtle, but I like that it's there. It's really pretty. But yeah, they're cute. Look at them. They're so cute. They're a thimbo, I think. A thimbo? I love them. Right, and then I think they're also like a priest, like not like a priest exactly, but like a religious figure in their community as well. So this is more like their ceremonial garb, I think. But yeah, again, lots of great detail. I love the colors that you've used, just like the gold mixed with like the teals and the green. Just really, really nice. And I like how you save the kind of more yellowy green for their scales and then use the more bluey greens for their outfits. It just works really well. Really cute dog. That's a really good dog that's on camera right now. The ceremonial outfit is very interesting. It is, isn't it? I love the headdress part. It's so cool. For real. Giving characters different outfits is just like peak. Where this feels like more casual. I like the pattern. I like the little rose pattern. But yeah, color-wise, these are fantastic. Very like concise color story that just works really, really well. If you have any questions about that, Cypress, please let me know. I'll move on to Seo. So this is their partner. Okay. So the one thing I'm seeing right off the bat is I'm finding her color really blends in with the background color you've chosen, because you've used this kind of like mid-tone, kind of grayish color for the background, which makes sense, because if you have like a very neutral background color, it does help make like the colors of your characters pop. But I'm finding it's mostly in the greens, so like the green of the hair and some of her outfit stuff. It's just very close in value to the background, so it's a little hard to see. It makes her blend in a little bit with the background. So I think an easy fix for that is just to lighten the background a little bit, or darken it. I'd go with lighter just so it's not drawing attention from your character. And I think that'll help with like making her colors stand out quite a bit. But I do really like her colors. I love the green in the hair. I love the dark skin with the like tattoos / markings. I love the little flowers in the hair. I forget what the story is, but I know she has like, is she like a druid? Something like that, like some kind of naturey person. Anyways, I don't remember. It's been a while. But yeah, I really like how the gold in her eyes also stands out. It always helps to throw things into grayscale to make sure there's enough contrast. Yes, that is a good thing to quickly do when you're working, is just quickly pop it into grayscale. And you're like, oh, the contrast isn't working here, and then you can put it back in color and adjust things. But yeah, I like how so it looks like for her outfits, she has you've kind of pulled from the gold and the gray. Because even her skin tone, it's like a dark gray, but it has like a little bit of the green kind of pulled into it, which is nice. It helps it really like harmonize well with the green from the hair. And I like how you've pulled like the gold from her eyes instead of using like a really bright gold. These more kind of muted colors. I think it does speak well to her personality because she is a bit more kind of like serious, pragmatic type of character. From what I remember. So yeah, so I can see her wearing these more kind of muted colors. And as well as like the alternate outfit. I do like you pulling the green. Again, I think there's a bit of a contrast issue where I would possibly make the green a little bit brighter. This outfit in particular, it feels very like everything is very close in value. The contrast just needs to be heightened. And I feel like if the contrast elsewhere was changed, it might help, but I'm finding just the black blouse feels a little... I think it's just difficult to read because everything, all the colors are like pulled very like dark, like the darker kind of mid-range. So I'm finding like the black blouse is kind of hard to read. Whereas like if everything else was like adjusted contrast-wise, it might work better. But I do think this kind of lighter blouse works a little bit better. But again, that could change if the other colors change. So I'm not sure. For this kind of main outfit with the trousers, I do like how you've pulled the gold to like this kind of chocolatey brown color. It works well with the clipboard and her shoes, but I'm wondering if she didn't have the clipboard, the brown shoes might feel a little bit out of place on the character as well. Whereas up here, where you've used the green for like the shoes and the skirt, and the brown's used on the belt. I think there needs to be a bit more of like distribution of the colors, if that makes sense. So like bringing, you know, if you want to keep this dark brown color, bringing it into more places on, say, like this outfit, like maybe using it for buttons or adding some more accessories that use it. You know, it could be like a wooden necklace or bracelet. You could use it for the buttons, like I said. You could add a belt or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, just bringing it throughout the outfit so it's not just on her shoes would help a lot. And then same here. So if you have it in the belt, I'd recommend bringing it somehow into like the lower half of the character as well as like the upper half of the character a little bit. You know, it doesn't have to be a huge piece. They can just be like subtle little details added in. And again, it can be through jewelry, it can be through accessories, little touches to the outfit, whatever you think would work best. Because she doesn't seem like she... Because, like, if you look at Estrella, like, they have a lot of, like, ornamental stuff with their outfits. They wear a lot of accessories. And I really like how balanced all of the different elements are, where you've got, like, you know, the gold, where you've got it on different pieces of the character. Same with, like, the teal and the white. Like, it goes throughout all different pieces of the character fairly evenly. It does help that Estrella has the teal on the feathers, because that does, you know, even if you only have the teal on their belt here, having it within their feathers and their tail balances it out on the character quite a bit. And same with the use of the gold on them. It's close enough, like it's harmonious with the green of their scales, where it feels distributed throughout the character really well because of that. Whereas Seo feels like she's missing... the colors feel very concentrated in different spots instead of being distributed throughout the character more evenly. And then I know you said that this wasn't like a main outfit. It was just because Estrella means star, which is cute. I like it though. He's very cute. I think the purple works really well. I think it contrasts well with like the gold. So if you know, obviously this isn't like the main outfit, but if you did have, say, like a scene where they're wearing this outfit, bringing in some gold throughout the dress as well, I think would help quite a bit. Like even if you just change the stars to like a gold on the dress, and maybe some gold pieces like, I don't know, an anklet or like straps on the shoes or something, I think that would help kind of bring the gold through the character more as well. Yeah. So I think that's that on Seo. If you have any questions, please let me know. And now, the illustration that you were working on. Right. So this is... Love the gradient on the dress. Right? It's so pretty. I want a dress like that. It's so pretty. But yeah, oh, isn't this so sweet? So Seo and Estrella have adopted a child, and this is their kid that they have adopted. And I think the story is that their kid is finally kind of warmed up to them a little bit, and Estrella walks in on Seo, and I think Ceres is the kid's name. Seo and Ceres kind of having a mom-daughter moment. Hello, Opal. Love character interaction art, right? I can attend a stream. Welcome. But yes, they're having a little sweet moment. Precious cuddles. Interactions are the best. Yes. This is so sweet. It's the sweetest. So it looks like Estrella's taking a photo because I like how you can see like a little bit of green. It looks like they've got like their thumb on the lens. That's a really cute touch. Okay, so you really wanted me to dig into this one. You said, and you are really proud of it, and I think you should be because it's a really nice illustration. General critique, and please be nitpicky. Okay. Yes. So, composition-wise, I think it works really well. I think I like how you've brought in the camera lens aspect where you've got like the what is it? The targeting bit in the middle as well as like the framing, because it does help draw your eye to the focal point of the piece. And even though this is like a composition that is very focused like right in the middle, which is done by using this camera effect, I still like how you've got a lot of asymmetry in the composition to still balance it out, because there's nothing wrong with having a composition where like everything's kind of like in the middle. That can be like a really purposeful, interesting composition. But done poorly, I guess, it can be kind of boring, which is usually why people tell you to put things like on the, to use the rule of thirds, where like if you drew lines through your composition and broke it up into equal thirds, vertically and horizontally, where those lines intersect between the sections, that's usually where you put focal points, just because it is asymmetrical and it is in thirds, it feels like both balanced but visually interesting. But that isn't to say that things that are centered are bad. They can still be good, interesting compositions. And I think this is one of them. And I think what helps is the asymmetry that you put into your background elements. So I do like how, even though it's like a central focus, the main bodies of your subjects are diagonal. It creates more dynamicness. I want to sharp fade in every character. Switch the pen on cam also has changed. They know. They're like, oh, character changed, I gotta go. They're aware. See, they run the stream, it's not me. Right, so having the diagonal kind of through line, and it's not a fully symmetrical diagonal, like they're a little further to the top, or there's a bit more kind of negative space on the bottom. Creates good visual interest. You've got lots of like crisscrossing lines, so using like the perspective on the couch creates some nice diagonal lines that are helps with like dynamicness, bringing the eye throughout the composition. And then I really like the light being cast from the windows, how it intersects diagonally with those perspective lines and creates, again, that visual interest. That crisscross makes it more dynamic. I like how you've used some little kind of background objects to help bring your eye back into the focus. So for example, like when you look at the piece, I start by looking at the characters' faces. That brings you down to like the lens focus. You follow their bodies down to like this little book that they were reading. You're brought around by like the objects on the couch, then by like the foreground element of like Estrella's hand on the lens. That brings you up to the coffee table where you see this little coffee pot and the mug. That brings you up here to like the window and the vase, and that brings you back down to your characters. And even if your eye follows these the lines of the light coming in, you're then brought down by the couch and back around into the composition. So that's like a good, when you're putting together a composition, whether it's an illustration or a comic panel, your goal is to put objects, elements, textures, lines, shapes, whatever you need. You can get very like abstract with composition, and you can be more literal with saying like foreground elements, background elements, depending on the piece. But anyways, all the different objects, subjects, pieces of your composition, you're using them to lead the eye around within that composition. Whereas like if someone describes a composition as boring, it usually means like there's not much to look at. Your eye is being sent in the wrong direction. You're being sent like off of the page, off of the composition. You're not brought back into it. It can be like things feel very static and either too balanced or way too unbalanced, and it doesn't lead your eye around the way it should. Whereas a very strong composition will lead your eye back and around through the image subtly, the way when you're reading a comic, you're using your composition to kind of lead your reader's eye between the panels and the text bubbles, and then off the page and to the next page. So that's composition. And all that to say, the composition here is very nice. Oh boy. Color-wise, really, really nice. I love how warm everything is. I love how everything just feels very like gauzy and soft, like it's the end of the day. There's a lot of like storytelling going on with just like the characters' expressions, the camera element, seeing Estrella's like little fingers on the lens, the objects where it's like you see the book that's been dropped, or like maybe they were reading together and then they fell asleep. They were getting cozy, drinking coffee, and yeah, it's very sweet. You can tell the characters are like very close and affectionate. There's a lot of like maternal affection you can see with Seo. Yeah, there's just lots of lovely storytelling going on, which is great. And yeah, color-wise, everything is very warm, even though you have some like cool colors with like the teal on the coffee mug, the greens going on. Seo has like with like the greens in her hair. has some cool colors going on, but they match very well with these like warm oranges and browns and creams that you have like with the pillows, series color scheme. Yeah, there's a very good balance of like these kind of warm browns where you see it on their outfits, on Seo's skin with the book cover. Then you have like the golds with like Siri's hair, the vase, the lighting, the pillows, and then some nice neutrals to kind of bring it all together. Oh, hold on. Chloe saying, so Woodga is a thief, but he joins the good guys. He got his personality down well. Yay. Tyrell is the same comic as Asgard the Vikings and Edwin the Noble. Right. He's a mentor, but a coward and an idiot. He's bulky from farming. He's slightly hunched from lifting heavy things. Oh, so Nish was right. Nish was like, oh, he looks hunched. Forgot Tyrell's scar on his face. And as for Sharkbait, yeah, she's loud and way too hyper. Her fave food is a jambon. Nom 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 nom. I'm with Sharkbait. Like, all I want is baked goods. I too would come to Earth just for baked goods. I do love how VTubers, like, I mean, as part of your story, Chloe, but also just in general, I love when VTubers have like lore for their for their avatars. It's so cute. It's the best. Awesome. So is Woodga from... Because you have the one story that's like the... There's the warrior who has like the red hair and the red cloak. Is that what Woodga is from? Where there's like demons and stuff? Sharkbait makes another character after she gets food poisoning. Her magic brings her food back to life. Aww. Too many jambons. Got food poisoning. No. And then the Viking story is different, which has Tyrell in it. I was wondering because the dates were different. Woodga is from the prequel comic, which follows Alpha, the old wolfman. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. You have so many comics, Chloe. You put me in bones to shame. Awesome. Did you have any questions, Chloe? They're in the same universe and are connected, so I get confused. That is fair. You need to get, like... No questions? The advice was great? Awesome. Thank you for submitting. You need to get, like... You need to make, like, a wiki. Like a story bible, a wiki for all your projects. Alright, so Cypress, just to finish this off. I think you've got some great atmosphere, like I said, really great composition, really nice colors. I think what could possibly take this to the next level... I think just some of the shadows could be rendered out a little further. Where there's lots of places where you've got some really nice shadow stuff going on. Like I noticed it especially with like the couch cushions where like you've got some really great transition from like these really pardon me, these really nice highlights, and then the shadows get quite dark, and you're using them very well to like show off the shape of the couch and things like that. Same with like this table in the background and like the coffee pot and parts of the characters as well. Like there's lots of nice kind of light and shadow going on in the characters' faces, which is great because that's where you want the focus to be for your character. I think there's some places where the contrast could go a little bit farther. So for example, like these pillows behind them, you could darken some of the shadow where it contacts against the couch a little bit more. I think with how the light is going, there could be like a bit of a longer shadow cast by the book, which could create some more kind of like diagonal line work that's happening, as well as more of like a shadow cast below the book. More of like a shadow cast from the coffee pot down onto the table. I think the floor feels a little bit flat as compared to other aspects. I think the background, like behind the couch and everything, keeping it the way you have it, where it's mostly just like gradients from the lighting and some small subtle line work, I think that works really, really well. Because I think if you put too much detail back here, it would like draw focus away from your main focal point. But I think there's just like little places where there could be a bit more shadow beneath the pillows, beneath the characters a little bit. Yeah. Where the shadows could be darkened a little bit, and you may have to push it like really, really far and then pull it back to make it like look okay. It can be really tough. But I think that would help just elevate it even farther. I think that's it really, because otherwise things look really, really nice. I think it's mostly just like adding some more contact shadows and some little darker shadows here and there. But otherwise it looks so nice. It looks so sweet. I'm still out, but I wanted to say hi. Hi, Oris. Trying to think, is there anything else? You could... No, I don't know. I was thinking like maybe you could put a bit more light on their faces. It's hard because from where Seo is sitting, like her face is very shadowed because like the light is coming out like kind of right on the back of her head. Whereas like Ceres gets more of the light cast on her face. But I don't know. You could put a little bit more highlights like on her face and her hair kind of thing, just to kind of highlight her expression a little bit. You'd have to play around because I really like the highlight here where the light is hitting her arm. And you could even, because Ceres has like a little bit of like a cooler skin tone, where you could add some kind of warmth into the tones a little bit with like the golden light kind of coming in. If you're gonna add any like golden highlights to like Seo's face, maybe a bit of texture in the piece that could work too. Yeah, like adding some more kind of wood green texture on the floor, for example, and there's other places, but yeah. But I think overall this is a really wonderful piece. I think that's it. I hope that was nitpicky enough. Pigment, if you have any questions, please let me know. I would be happy to answer. And that, folks, is the end of the Itty Bitty Critique stream. It was very itty bitty. Hold on, we can look at babies while I close out. Thank you all so much for joining today. So if you are new here, we do critiques of art, of writing, comic scripts, comic pages at any stage, character designs, illustrations, short stories, parts of novels. We can critique it all between me, who is the artist, Bones, who is the writer. We do it monthly at the end of every month. And if you are interested in having your work looked at, you can join us through our Patreon, where you can sign up for our critique streams. And we also offer kind of one-to-one, one-on-one consulting if you want like a more in-depth kind of look at your work. You can sign up through Patreon as well. And that's it. I guess. For critique, I will see you next month. But later today, I will be continuing work on our commissions that we collected through the week. We'll be finishing them off. The breathing furs are cute. They're so cute. Look at all the fur they left on our nice couch. But yeah, I'll be back later today working on some commissions with Bones. Probably in 2 or 3 hours, maybe longer. It depends on how much other stuff we have to get done today. But we will be going for a long time today. So I'll see you in a few hours. Goodbye.